Red Sox nearly no hit. They end up getting shut out, only managed 2 hits against the Toronto Blue Jays. And the season that just won't let up, just keeps on going here as they find themselves now 3.5 games back. The Minnesota Twins did not play last night. They are playing the Blue Jays tonight. So the Red Sox, a win and a Minnesota loss, would get them back to 2.5 games back in the wild card. Right now they sit 3.5 back from the Twins. The Royals also lost. They've lost 2 in a row now, which has boosted Cleveland back up to the top of the Central, while the Red Sox now still try and get into that third wild card. I was thinking about that while I was watching the game last night, while I was watching the Red Sox offense struggle against a good pitcher, and that kid, Bowden Francis, who was out there. I mean, he's coming out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, just no one can touch him. And I was watching them, and I was watching them struggle. I was watching Rich Hill out there, and coming on in relief, his 20th Major League season in a row. This is what constitutes an actual pickup now, an acquisition for this team. And I was watching all of that and thinking, this team misses the playoffs again. After all the positive feelings and momentum going into the All-Star break and sort of all the things that we looked at and thought, it's going to be different this year. And I thought that. I think a lot of people thought that. The stretch where they went 10 games over 500 going into the All-Star break, I think changed a lot of people's mind about this team, about what they could be, about Alex Cora, about a lot of things. I mean, that extension didn't kick in until, that happened. So I think there's a lot to be made about that stretch from June 15th right up until the All-Star break, where you thought, all right, this team has a chance to really be something this season. If they miss the playoffs again, is anyone going to take notice in that building? Is anyone, from Sam Kennedy to Tom Warner to John Henry, is it going to get their attention? Is it going to get them to maybe reevaluate the way they've been doing things? Theo Epstein's there now. We all sort of thought maybe Theo would be a voice in the ear of these guys to get them to go back to the way things used to be in terms of spending, in terms of fan engagement, in terms of trade deadlines, all that stuff. And I do wonder, are they so far gone? Are they so dug into their business model? Are they so, just into the idea of Fenway Sports Group and all this other stuff they got going on here with the Pittsburgh Penguins and their PGA Tour investment and everything else that they're doing, that the Red Sox have just become another number on the ledger and not something that they'll ever really take seriously the way they did when they first bought the team? And while I think that's probably true, they'll never get back to that way of thinking. Will this get their attention? Will missing the playoffs again after all those good feelings back in June and July, is that something that will get the attention of John Henry? Is that something that will make them maybe reevaluate this whole hands-off, develop the young kids, don't spend much money, and don't really go crazy at the deadline? Let's just hoard all our prospects and hope we can get some cheap labor and win games that way. Could that possibly be a benchmark maybe in the organization?
Maybe, but you did it again. You said they. I think it's a he. Now, you pulled it back around at the end there and said John Henry, because when you started, you said everybody. Mm-hmm. You listed everybody, Tom Warner and
Kennedy and Theo and all that.
Do they matter?
Not necessarily. I mean, Theo might. Theo might have Henry's ear.
Okay, let's change that question a little bit. Do you think if Sam Kennedy says, you know what I really think we need to do? I've been here a long time. Seems like when we spend, we have better players. Mm-hmm. Does that matter?
No.
Okay.
Probably not.
So if Craig Breslow says, listen, I think I put a decent team together, but I know I haven't been doing this job a long time, but I get a feeling if I spend some money, we'll be better. Does that matter?
Probably not.
Okay. Now, if Theo says that, does that matter?
I think there's Theo, yes. Theo, I think, because they brought him in this year. And Theo is someone that has had success here when he was in charge of all this stuff. He's someone that, went on to win championships with the Cubs and then became part of Major League Baseball, and I think is probably more well-respected in those circles than, say, those other two guys.
Yeah. But
yes, I would say yes.
So he's your lobbyist. If we were going to get a lobbyist,
right,
we need Theo to do the lobbying.
Mm-hmm.
Because I find John Henry very interesting. Very, I always say, we always throw the word fascinating around, but I think there's a fascinating aspect to him, what his motivations are. What they were, how they've changed,
mm-hmm.
How he views things through, as you said, is it just a number? Is it a bottom line? Is it a spreadsheet, as everybody says? Because I come from a world of 20 years. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but Robert Kraft at least started as a passionate fan.
Yep.
I don't know where he is now. I don't know if he's more businessman than fan, or if it's 50-50, whatever the percentage breakdown is. but I at least know where he started on some level.
I think, just to give my 2 cents on that, I think he's still a fan. I don't know that he has the same passion for it, but I also think he, like everybody else, got very spoiled by the Belichick-Brady era and now thinks that he can just keep running it that way and that, eventually things will get back to the way that they were. That's sort of the delusion that a lot of people are under, and I think that's starting to slowly wear off.
So do you think John Henry would be more motivated, get his rocks off, whatever you want to call it, by the Red Sox winning or a new acquisition?
The Red Sox winning.
So no. I mean a new acquisition in terms of, for lack of a better example, the Boston Celtics.
I see what you mean. I'm sorry. Okay. New acquisition then.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's a portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Isn't this what rich people do? Like, you see it in movies all the time.
Totally.
Like, some movie is based on some rich guy wanted, like, some tusk from some elephant that is worth money, right? Like, they pursue these weirdly expensive...
Every Indiana Jones movie.
Right,
yes, right.
Trinkets. Oh, yeah, I want something, the relic of this. It's from the Bible, blah, 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 blah.
And Ark of the Covenant or something, right?
Yeah. I think that's how John Henry looks at business. And, he acquired the Red Sox, and he made the Red Sox a winner. You can't argue that. He succeeded in winning. But there's nothing they can add to his portfolio.
Right. And more so than the Patriots even. John Henry can look at the way things have gone over the last 20-plus years and say, we've won with a bunch of different types of people.
Yep.
We won with Theo Epstein and Terry Francona. We won with Ben Cherington and whoever the manager was after that, John Farrell. We've won with Dave Dombrowski and Alex Cora. We've won with a lot of different types doing it different ways. Dombrowski was a big spender. Cherington wasn't. Theo was sort of a good mix of both of those things, and all the managers had different personalities. The Patriots can't say that. The Patriots won with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady for 20 years, and that was it.
Right.
And there should be, I think, a much more concerted effort there to at least be like, okay, we can't just keep waiting for that to happen again. We have to try something else. With the Red Sox, of course they want to try something. We can do whatever we want. We'll keep winning. We'll just find another winner. We fire a manager. The next one comes in. They win the World Series right away. That's what happened for, a few years there. Every 5 years, they just bring in a new guy. Now they've kind of hit a point where it's not really working like that anymore.
And that's where you say it, though, they've done it a lot of different ways, so they can be sold on Craig Breslow that he has a plan and this plan will work, and it didn't work year one.
Well, Bloom was Bloom was the anti-Dombrowski.
Right.
And then instead of bringing in a Dombrowski, they brought in Breslow, who's basically the same as Chaim Bloom, I think.
Right, but he might be better at the style, I guess I'd say.
Do you think he is so far?
Debatable.
If you're under these parameters that Sam Kennedy likes to talk about, then it doesn't really matter who you are. Like Dave Dombrowski, if he came here and said, I want to spend on David Price and I want to trade for Chris Sale and I want to do all that, and John Henry said, no, we're not doing that, then Dave Dombrowski's just like everybody else. He was given that freedom to do those things.
And that's why I don't think it's a they, it's a he. And I don't know if you can change him. I don't know if because you answered it. He like the portfolio acquisitions.
Right.
He cares about business acquisitions, not baseball acquisitions, not improving the baseball team. And I also think some of it might just be, in all honesty, day to day. Does he know they had a great starting effort from Brian Bayo and then almost got no hit? You think he even knows it? Day to day.
He probably reads the paper, I'd say.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's his paper.
It's not the first. You think it's the first? Don't people like him read Wall Street Journal and stuff first?
I don't know.
I mean, you're not people like him. So.
I'm not people like him, so I have no idea.